Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. Let's talk about something we all crave, but don't always admit being unforgettable. Leaving a mark so deep that when you walk out of a room, people feel your absence. Not because you begged for attention, but because your presence was that powerful. Too often, we exhaust ourselves trying to be seen, trying to be heard, trying to be liked. But here's the secret: true impact isn't about being available to everyone all the time. It's about being so undeniably extraordinary that your presence speaks long after you're gone. So how do you do that? First, build yourself so strong that when you leave, people feel the void. Work on your skills, sharpen your mind, and cultivate confidence so unshakable that when you walk into any space, you don't just blend in, you own it. Excellence doesn't chase attention, it commands it. Being unforgettable isn't about being loud, flashy, or constantly in the spotlight. It's about building yourself into someone so remarkable that your presence naturally commands attention, and your absence leaves an undeniable void. True presence isn't forced, it's earned through hard work, confidence, and a relentless pursuit of growth. To become truly unforgettable, you must first focus on personal development. The world doesn't remember the ordinary. It remembers the extraordinary. And extraordinary people don't just happen, they build themselves every single day. They learn, they grow, they evolve. They push past their limits and strive for excellence in everything they do. Whether it's in your career, relationships, or personal life, you must constantly refine your skills, sharpen your mind, and elevate your thinking. The most impactful people are the ones who never settle, never stagnate, and never stop seeking knowledge. Confidence is a byproduct of preparation. When you invest in yourself, you naturally radiate self-assurance. People are drawn to those who carry themselves with certainty, because confidence exudes power. When you walk into a room knowing your worth, knowing what you bring to the table, and knowing that you don't need external validation, you become magnetic. People take notice not because you demand their attention, but because your energy speaks before you even say a word. Presence isn't just about what you say, it's about how you carry yourself. It's in the way you walk, the way you listen, and the way you make others feel. People don't remember those who simply exist in the background, they remember those who make an impact. That impact comes from authenticity, from standing firm in who you are, and from having a voice that carries weight. The more you invest in becoming the best version of yourself, the more naturally you will command attention without ever having to ask for it. Becoming unforgettable also requires resilience. Life will test you. People will doubt you. There will be moments when you feel unseen, unappreciated, and underestimated. But how you respond to these challenges determines whether you fade into the background or rise above. Every setback is an opportunity to prove to yourself that you are capable of more. Every rejection is a redirection to something greater. The people who are truly unforgettable are the ones who refuse to give up, who refuse to let circumstances define them, and who continue to push forward with unwavering determination. When you focus on building yourself, you start to realize that being unforgettable isn't about pleasing others, it's about fulfilling your own potential. The greatest mistake people make is thinking they need to be liked by everyone to be remembered. But true impact isn't about popularity, it's about authenticity. When you stay true to yourself, when you embrace your uniqueness, and when you stand by your values, you naturally attract the right people into your life. Those who recognize your worth will remember you not because you tried to impress them, but because you were unapologetically yourself. It's also important to understand that being unforgettable doesn't mean being perfect. Perfection is an illusion, and people connect with authenticity, not with flawlessness. The most impactful individuals are those who embrace their imperfections, learn from their mistakes, and continue to grow despite their shortcomings. They are the ones who have the courage to be vulnerable, to share their experiences, and to inspire others through their journeys. At the end of the day, the goal isn't just to be remembered, it's to leave an imprint so powerful that your presence lingers even when you're not there. It's about adding value to every space you enter, about uplifting those around you, and about making a difference in your own unique way. When you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, people won't just notice you, they will feel your absence when you're gone. So invest in yourself. Work on your craft. Cultivate confidence. Be resilient. Stand by your values. Embrace your uniqueness. And most importantly, never stop growing. Because the most unforgettable people aren't the ones who demand attention, they are the ones who build themselves so strongly that attention natura. Knowing your worth is one of the most powerful realizations you can have. It changes the way you walk, the way you talk, and the way you allow people to treat you. When you understand your value, you stop seeking validation from others, because you already know what you bring to the table. Too often, people diminish their own worth by waiting for approval, by settling for less, or by allowing others to define their value. But the truth is, no one can determine your worth except you. The first step in knowing your worth is recognizing that you are enough as you are. Society constantly tells us that we need to be more successful, more attractive, more liked. But the moment you stop chasing unrealistic expectations and start appreciating who you are right now, you begin to stand in your power. That doesn't mean you stop growing, it means you stop believing the lie that you need to prove yourself to be worthy of respect, love, or success. Self-worth isn't about arrogance, it's about confidence. It's the quiet understanding that you deserve good things, not because someone else says so, but because you believe it for yourself. When you carry yourself with this belief, people start treating you differently. They see that you set standards, that you don't tolerate disrespect, and that you refuse to settle for anything less than you deserve. And here's the reality: people can only treat you the way you allow them to. If you accept being undervalued, they will continue to undervalue you. But when you demand respect not through words, but through the way you carry yourself, people have no choice but to rise to that level. One of the hardest things about knowing your worth is realizing that not everyone will recognize it. And that's okay. You are not meant to be for everyone. The moment you stop trying to fit into spaces that were never meant for you, you create room for the right opportunities and the right people to come into your life. Stop chasing people who don't see your value. Stop begging for appreciation from those who take you for granted. The more you recognize your own worth, the less you will need others to do it for you. Another important aspect of knowing your worth is understanding that it is not tied to external factors. Your value does not depend on your job title, your relationship status, or the opinions of others. It is something intrinsic, something that cannot be taken away. Too often, people base their worth on how others perceive them, but this only leads to a never-ending cycle of seeking approval. The moment you break free from this mindset, you experience a new level of freedom. You start living for yourself, making choices that align with your happiness, and setting boundaries that protect your peace. Boundaries are a direct reflection of self-worth. When you know what you deserve, you don't hesitate to say no to things that do not serve you. Whether it's a toxic friendship, an unfulfilling job, or a one-sided relationship, you learn to walk away with confidence, not fear. Walking away isn't about proving a point to someone else, it's about proving to yourself that you refuse to settle for less than you deserve. The more you honor your worth, the more the world reflects that back to you. Knowing your worth also means celebrating yourself. Too often people downplay their achievements, brush off compliments, or hesitate to own their success. But there is nothing wrong with recognizing your own greatness. When you acknowledge your strengths, you give yourself permission to shine. You start to move through life with a sense of certainty, knowing that you are capable, deserving, and enough. At the end of the day, the most powerful thing you can do is believe in yourself. When you truly know your worth, you don't have to prove it to anyone. You don't need constant reassurance or external validation. You simply exist in your own power, knowing that the right people, the right opportunities, and the right experiences will naturally gravitate toward you. The world reflects back the energy you put out, So when you carry yourself with confidence and self-respect, everything around you begins to align accordingly. So stand tall, speak with conviction, walk with the knowledge that you are valuable, not because someone else says so, but because you know it. Because the moment you stop seeking permission to be worthy, you become unstoppable. Having the courage to walk away is one of the most powerful decisions you can make. It is a declaration that you know your worth, that you refuse to settle, and that you will not stay in a place that no longer serves you. Too often people stay in situations, whether it's a relationship, a job, or even a friendship, simply because they are afraid of what happens after they leave. They fear the unknown, they fear being alone, they fear regret. But the truth is, nothing great ever comes from holding on to something that is no longer meant for you. Walking away is not a sign of weakness. It is an act of self-respect. The first step in finding the courage to walk away is recognizing when something is no longer right for you. It's easy to convince yourself that things will change, that people will treat you better, that situations will improve if you just hold on a little longer. But deep down, you always know when something isn't working. There is a difference between perseverance and self-sacrifice. Fighting for something that brings you growth, joy, and fulfillment is one thing. Staying in something that drains you, limits you, and makes you question your worth is another. The longer you ignore the signs, the more you delay your own happiness. Walking away is not just about leaving a situation, it's about reclaiming your power. It is choosing yourself over fear. Fear tells you that you won't find something better. Fear tells you that you're making a mistake. Fear tells you that you're giving up too soon. But courage tells you that you deserve more. Courage tells you that your happiness is worth the risk. Courage tells you that sometimes the only way to grow is to let go. When you have the strength to walk away, you are sending a message, not just to others, but to yourself, that you refuse to be trapped by circumstances that do not align with your worth. One of the biggest reasons people hesitate to walk away is attachment. The longer you stay in a situation, the more invested you become. You build memories, you create routines, you form connections. Letting go feels like losing a part of yourself. But the truth is, holding on to something unhealthy does more damage than leaving ever could. Every time you choose to stay in a situation that no longer serves you, you are choosing to abandon yourself. You are telling yourself that your happiness is secondary, that your needs don't matter. But the moment you decide to put yourself first, everything begins to change. There is strength in knowing when to walk away, but there is even more strength in doing it with grace. Walking away does not mean burning bridges or leaving with resentment. It means leaving with dignity, knowing that you gave your best but refusing to stay where your best is not valued. When you walk away with grace, you don't have to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to seek revenge. You don't need to explain yourself repeatedly. And you don't need to beg for someone to understand your decision. Your actions speak for themselves. The beauty of walking away is that it opens the door for better things to come. Sometimes we hold on to something so tightly, fearing that we will never find anything as good, only to realize later that leaving was the best thing we could have done. Life has a way of rewarding those who choose themselves. The job that made you feel stuck, leaving it could lead you to an opportunity that fulfills you. The relationship that drained you, walking away could make space for the kind of love you truly deserve. The friendship that felt one-sided, letting go could allow you to find people who genuinely appreciate and support you. Walking away is not just about leaving behind what no longer serves you. It's about stepping into a version of yourself that refuses to settle. It is a reminder that your worth is not determined by someone else's inability to see it. It is an act of bravery that will ultimately lead you to the life you were meant to live. You do not owe anyone an explanation for choosing yourself. You do not have to apologize for prioritizing your happiness. The people and opportunities that are truly meant for you will never require you to sacrifice your self-worth in order to keep them. At the end of the day, the hardest part of walking away is taking that first step. But once you do, you will realize that you were never meant to stay in a place that made you feel small. You were never meant to shrink yourself just to fit into someone else's expectations. You were never meant to settle for less than you deserve. So trust yourself. Trust that walking away is not the end. It is the beginning of something far greater. And when you leave, leave with your head held high, knowing that you had the courage to choose yourself. Leaving a lasting legacy isn't about fame, fortune, or recognition. It's about making an impact so powerful that people remember you not just for what you did, but for who you were. It's about the way you inspire, the way you uplift, and the way you leave a piece of yourself behind in the hearts of others. When you live with purpose, when you choose to be intentional with your actions, you create a legacy that speaks for you long after you've moved on. The key to leaving a legacy is understanding that it's not about being known by everyone. It's about being remembered by the right ones. It's about the lives you touch, the kindness you show, and the way you make people feel. People won't always remember your words, but they will remember how you made them feel. Did you inspire them? Did you push them to be better? Did you make them believe in themselves when they had doubts? That is what truly leaves an imprint. It's not about being perfect. It's about being real, being present, and being someone who makes a difference, no matter how big or small. To create a lasting legacy, you must be intentional about how you show up in the world. The way you treat people, the way you handle challenges, and the way you carry yourself all contribute to how you will be remembered. It's easy to get caught up in chasing success, in working toward goals, in building something for yourself. But true impact is about more than just personal achievement. It's about what you give back. Success without impact is empty. The most unforgettable people are the ones who lift others as they rise. They don't just climb the ladder, they turn around and help others climb with them. There is power in leading by example. When you live with integrity, when you stand for something, when you refuse to compromise your values, people take notice. Your legacy isn't built in a single moment. It's built in the way you live every day. It's in the choices you make, in the standards you set, in the way you refuse to accept less than what you deserve. When you consistently show up as the best version of yourself, you inspire others to do the same. You create a ripple effect that extends beyond what you can see. One of the biggest misconceptions about leaving a legacy is that it has to be something grand, something that changes the world in a dramatic way. But the truth is, legacy is built in the small moments. It's in the encouragement you give someone when they're struggling. It's in the kindness you show when no one is watching. It's in the strength you demonstrate when faced with adversity. Every interaction, every conversation, every decision shapes the mark you leave behind. You don't have to be famous to be unforgettable. You just have to be someone who makes a difference in the lives of those around you. To leave a lasting impact, you have to be fearless in being yourself. People remember authenticity. They remember those who had the courage to be different, to speak their truth, to stand for what they believe in. If you try to be like everyone else, you blend in. But when you embrace your individuality, when you own your story, when you refuse to dim your light to make others comfortable, you become someone people can't forget. The world doesn't need more people who fit in. It needs more people who dare to stand out. Walking away from something is not the same as disappearing. It's about leaving such a strong impression that your presence is still felt even when you're no longer there. It's about making choices that reflect your values, about carrying yourself in a way that demands respect, about showing people through your actions that you are someone who matters. When you do this, you don't have to ask to be remembered. People will naturally miss you because what you brought to the table was irreplaceable. At the end of the day, a true legacy isn't built on things, it's built on impact. Titles fade, achievements can be forgotten, but the way you make people feel, the inspiration you spark, and the lives you touch will live on. Make the choice to be someone whose absence is noticed, not because you demanded attention, but because your presence was that meaningful. Be the kind of person who, when you leave a room, leaves a sense of something special behind. That is what it means to leave a legacy. That is what it means to be unforgettable. 1/2